Hi, I'm Jack Hayter and today I'm going to show you how to model and animate a lipid membrane in Blender.
I created my first illustration of a lipid membrane in Year 11, when I created a 3D model of the illustration that was in my textbook.
While this is fine as its own simplified representation of the lipid membrane, the inclusion of a protein at atomic resolution would lead to a misunderstanding into the structure of a lipid. To prevent this misunderstanding, it's important to ensure that the lipids are at the same resolution as the protein. The detailed lipid molecules come from an add-on for Blender called CellPack that has a recipe for lipids, which I've included in today's tutorial. Because CellPack doesn't work on my new computer, I have the lipids on a separate Blender file which I'll include in the description below.
With Blender open, delete the default cube and add a plane. In edit mode, scale the plane by 4 and subdivide it by 3. With the first vertice selected, press Ctrl H and add a hook to new object. By moving the newly created empty, you can control the vertices of the plane. With the next vertice selected, press Ctrl H, add hook to new object. Repeat the process for each vertice in the mesh.
With that done, move the plane and lamp onto another layer. With all the empties selected, press I and keyframe the location. Click on the clock icon to change over to the graph editor. Ensure to have your cursor over the 3D view to ensure that all of the empties are keyframed.
Select the Z location of the first empty. Then add a noise modifier by going Modifiers, Add Modifier, Noise. This modifier gives the empty a random and rapid wiggle in the Z direction. To slow down the wiggle, I've set the scale to 20. I'll repeat the process again with the Z location of the second empty. However, this time I offset the noise so that the two empties move differently to each other. Repeat the process for all 25 empties, each having a different offset. With that done, press Alt-A to see the empties in motion. With the plane selected, go into the Modifiers panel and add a subsurf modifier. For aesthetic purposes, set the shading to smooth. With the base mesh set up, we can go ahead and start adding lipids. On a new layer, bring in the lipid molecules by going File, Append, and then searching for the blend file called Lipid Source File. Once you enter the file, go into the Object section and select both Lip1 and Lip2 for importing. With one of the lipids selected, go into Edit mode and press P to separate the individual lipids. Repeat the process for the other side. With all the lipids selected, go Object, Group, Create New Group, and name the new group Lipids. Back on the plane layer, select the plane and add a particle system. Within the particle settings, head down to Render and select Group. Search for the group called Lipids and select. Currently, the emitted lipids fall like rain. Rather than messing around with the physics properties, we're going to fake the movement by setting the particle lifetime to 1. This causes the lipid to pop in and out of existence. When we increase the particle numbers, it appears as if the lipid molecules are moving about. Before we do that, however, I've set the scale to 0.1 and activated rotation. To ensure the lipids sit upright, set the physics properties to none. With that done, we can set up the particle numbers. Heading up to the emission section, I set the end to frame 100, as that's the duration I want the animation to go for. Begin to experiment with the emission number. I started with 20,000 and played the animation to see what it looks like in motion. While it does look good, more lipids are needed. So, I increased the emission number by a factor of 10. That looks better. However, it's still not where I want to be. So I increased the emission number by a further factor of 10. My computer has finally responded, and I'm happy with the density. With the lipid membrane complete, you can set up the rest of your theme. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and I wish you all the best for creating your own themes. Cheers!